everybody, welcome back. This is Carson Clues with ATA Martial Arts, and today is the second video of our 5 questions that we as instructors and parents want to ask whenever our kids encounter a low motivation pocket. As we talked about last video, low motivation pockets are normal, they are common, and so we are not surprised by low motivation pockets. Low motivation pockets, phases of time, whether they're short or long, where a student loses motivation, is most often, it is part of the martial arts experience. It's part of their character development, and we can work together to help them learn some valuable lessons through that. I just want to re-emphasize one more time, these are strategies for if the child is arriving at, hey, I don't feel like going to class, I don't want to go to class, but the parent has decided, hey, this is what I want for my child. I would like my child to go to class. So if that is you, then let's move on to questions 3, 4, and 5. So first of all, question number 3 we're going to ask is this: what does my child gain by not coming to class? That's a very valuable question that we want to keep our eyes out for. What does my child gain by not coming to class? Even though a lot of our kids have not taken a high school economics class, our kids intrinsically begin to learn opportunity cost. The idea that they have a limited amount of time, and so time they spend on thing A, they cannot spend on thing B. Energy they spend on thing A, they cannot spend on thing B. So there's a time where the child learns that when I go to martial arts class, 15-minute drive there, maybe more, about 30 or 40 minutes at the school, and then 15, maybe more, maybe less, minute drive home. They know they're losing a minimum hour of their life to martial arts class. And so as the kids get older, they start to realize, if I did not spend the hour here, I could spend it doing something else. Honestly, this is a mark of intelligence. They're understanding cause and effect, and they're understanding different opportunities. But the reason we want to talk about this is because a lot of times kids will gravitate towards what creates the most fun and excitement, not to what's healthiest in their decision making. We as instructors, we're going to try and make the most fun, exciting classes that we can. But most of the time on the martial arts experience, they're going to have that low motivation pocket where they find that doing something other than martial arts may be more exciting. So the question number 3 is, what does my child gain by not going to class? So if you picture, if my kid doesn't go to class, maybe he's going to go outside. Maybe he's going to play some video games. Maybe he's going to have more rest. And again, we know as parents, sometimes these things are appropriate. It's my hope that we as parents are the ones making that decision, not the child leaning towards their comfort zone. But if we look and we notice that if the child is gaining something by not coming to class, if the child is enjoying what happens more when they don't come to class, then that's a bad call if the parent wants their kid to come to class. So, solution is this: if the child is taking a step away from discipline, we want to make sure it's into another step of discipline. For example, you remember when you were a kid, or maybe it was your brother or sister or your friend, and you didn't want to go to school, so you faked sick. You knew if you faked the headache that your parents would use the thermometer on you, so you faked the stomach ache, right? Not that I ever did. Okay, don't look at me. Anyway, and you did that so you wouldn't have to go to school. And then you wanted to play, and what your parents did this, right? If you're too sick to go to school, you're too sick to run around and play. That parental strategy made sure that you're not going to move away from the discipline of going to school and have the undiscipline of doing whatever you want. There's a cost. That way, the kids learn to make a good decision about whether to go to school or not. So we're going to do the same thing in martial arts. If we see martial arts as a tool for developing discipline, and they choose not to go to martial arts, then we as parents, we have to find a different tool for their discipline. We have to find a different tool for their character development. So maybe we'll say, it's okay to not go to martial arts class today. That's fine. But if you don't go to martial arts class today, I'm going to have you help me with around the house. We're going to be folding laundry. We're going to be doing the dishwasher. I'm going to need help putting the dishes away. You'll hear that this is kind of connected to question 1 we asked earlier, the idea of the chores. But we're talking it from a different perspective. Does their life get better when they don't go to martial arts class, or does their life get worse? If we want the child to come to martial arts class, we have to make their life slightly less enjoyable by not going to martial arts class. I'm not saying make it abysmal. I'm just saying this. If you want your child to be consistent in their martial arts training, then we have to make sure that not going to martial arts does not become a positive. All right, let's move on to question number 4 and then strategy number 4. Question number 4 is this: is there a challenge that my child is facing that is causing them to gravitate away from martial arts class? So this is going to cover 2 topics right here. Number 1 is sometimes kids, when a challenge hits them and they struggle with it, kids will often back up. Kids like feeling successful. A lot of times young kids don't like struggling. If you watch your child play video games, I'm going to make a bet that most of the time your child turns the difficulty level down to easy, even if they're good enough to play normal. Because kids gravitate away from challenges until they get older. Let me back up. Kids like competition. Kids like to push each other. But they especially like competition when they win. They don't like it so much when they lose. So kids gravitate away from challenge typically, but they do want to feel successful. At the same time, kids don't like struggling. Struggling is frustrating. And so when a struggle happens, they take a step back. So the question we're going to ask, first of all, is my child feeling challenged? Because there's another possibility too. They're not feeling challenged, and so they're not feeling the improvement. If they're feeling like they're going through the motions, they're smart enough to feel like they're wasting their time, and they'll lose motivation. So we want them to not feel underwhelmed and unchallenged. But if they're encountering a challenge that they could overcome with focus and hard work, then, well, if they don't focus and they don't work that hard, they're going to fail. We're going to make sure of it. We want to make sure that this is not good enough for them to succeed at the challenge. But then the child has a very difficult decision. And that difficult decision is, do I up my game or do I move away from the challenge? So the question is there a challenge my child is facing? And what does my child need from me as the parent during this challenge? The 2 most common challenges on the way through the martial arts experience is breaking boards and memorizing the form. These are the 2 most, there's other challenges, but these are the 2 most common challenges that students encounter. So when it comes to breaking boards requires focus. It requires powering that muscle. And it also requires the being okay with failure, not feeling embarrassed if everybody watches you not break the board. And that's a big struggle for a lot of students that we need to help them work through. For memorizing form, some kids, the reason they're not memorizing form is because they're losing focus. Some kids, the reason they're not memorizing form is because they don't want to get it wrong, so they're hesitating and looking around. But once again, when they find this, they have to choose between whether to up level or move away from the challenge. So again, the question is there a challenge my child is facing? And what does my child need from me in order to overcome this challenge? So with the strategy we're going to do is this. If the child is struggling with a challenge, they need more martial arts, not less martial arts. If the child is struggling in math class, we're not going to say, whoa, let's back up, no more math for you, let's take it easy. If the child is struggling in their math, We might look at the method of instruction, we might look at that, but we're going to be spending more time, more focus, more practice to get them through that challenge. So in the same way for martial arts, that's where the question comes in, what does my child need from me? For here at Kaiser ATA, if they're struggling with forms or boards, ask us about Friday boards class. Ask us about Friday or Saturday open floor class. We have lots of opportunities to get extra practice in that form and extra guidance, but we want to teach our children that anything worthwhile will have a challenge involved, and that when you hit the challenge, you don't become less and back up. You become more. How can I help you become more as your parent? How can I help you become more as your instructor? We don't respond to challenges by becoming less. We respond to challenges by becoming more. So, next question, our final question in this video series. Question number 5 is this. What is the primary purpose of my kid's martial arts? What is the number one purpose of my kid taking martial arts? And then another question is, what purposes are secondary? Let me repeat, if the child is not wanting to come to class, and our solution is not come to class, shut up, and we don't care. It's just that whether the kid is enjoying it or not might be a secondary consideration, and we're going to address it, because if the kid is really not enjoying it, sometimes we'll lose the first consideration. But let's back up to that question. If fun is the primary purpose, if enjoyment is the primary purpose, then it is the right time to quit as soon as a student is no longer enjoying themselves. If you are playing a game and the game is no longer fun, you should stop playing the game, because the game's purpose is fun. So as soon as the primary purpose is no longer happening, you should stop, all right? If you are taking a class at any school and you're not learning anything, then you should stop taking the class. I'm talking to parents right now, not the kids. Kids, finish your schooling. But we want to make good decisions about where to put our time. That to say, if the primary purpose is no longer happening, that's the right time to stop. But if the primary purpose is happening and a secondary purpose is not happening, it's the wrong time to stop. So if fun, and please, this is not one of those martial arts should be more important to you, and if your kid's in this for fun, then you need to rethink that. No. Some families, their primary purpose is, I'm looking for an activity that my kid enjoys. That's why I did martial arts. If that was your primary purpose, then we're glad you enrolled. And if it is still your primary purpose, then it is the right time to stop when they no longer enjoy it. Absolutely. But if there was a different primary purpose, whether it's discipline, confidence, self-defense, health, if these are the primary purpose, then the right time to quit is when these are no longer happening. That is the right time to quit. As the martial arts instructor, and let me say, if one of these are no longer happening, please tell me. I'd love to help however I can. We're going to do our best to make sure that these are always developing in the kids. But again, if the primary purpose is happening, but the secondary purpose of fun, of enjoyment is not happening, then it is not the right time to quit. However, we're still going to look and say, how can we make it more fun, more enjoyable? And we're going to teach our kids that. So one way that we can handle this as a solution is, here's just a simple thing you can say. Johnny, it's okay for you to not want to go to class. There's a lot of things in my life that I have to do that I don't want to do. So I know how that feels. However, as your parent, I have decided that I want you to get this out of martial arts. I want you to do martial arts to improve your respect and listening. So it's okay for you to not want to, but the rules are you have to obey my direction and get in the car. So these are strategies that we can use instead of asking for the kids' buy-in and saying, do you want to come to class? This is something you want. We can say it's okay for you to not want to go, but I've decided I want this for you as the parent to help you with that respect, or to increase your confidence, or to teach you to keep going and persevering when things get hard. One more thing before we close this video. I just want to revisit this. My job as the instructor is to reinforce what you want as the parent in your child. So if you and your child are in agreement about the time to stop, you're not going to get a fight or an argument or anything like that on me and my team. We're going to back whatever you choose as the parent for your child. However, these strategies are for if the child does not want to come to class, but you as the parent want your child to keep coming and getting the benefits out of their martial arts experience. If that is you, then I hope these videos give tools how we can set your child up for success and back your wishes for your child as well. So if there's anything more that me and my team can do to help keep your child's motivation high and to help guide them through future low motivation pockets, that's awesome. If your child never has a low motivation pocket, they are out there. Like there's a lot of there. I didn't think so. I thought that every kid had it, but no, we've got a lot of students that always love martial arts. That's wonderful. But if your kid does hit that low motivation pocket, we would love to help guide you and your family through making the best decision for yourself and your child. All right. Thanks for watching my video. This is Carson Clues with ATA Martial Arts, and thanks for being part of our school.